I want to give a general trigger warning. There are discussions of assumed child abuse and neglect, as well as animal cruelty in this episode. Hyder, who was the one that actually shot the motorist that she stopped, she has since been sentenced to 35 years in prison, and Pinkins was sentenced to life in prison. Both of them, though, appeared to have lived totally normal lives before becoming involved with the University of Cosmic Intelligence. Like, no issues, no major events, and then they hijacked somebody for apparently no reason.
And murdered them.
Which is just...
That's intense.
That is so fucked up. It's fucked up. So fucked up. It is just so damn fucked up. That's fucked up.
Oh, did you skip the countdown?
It just stopped.
Oh.
We're recording. We're live.
It just said a 5 and then nothing else.
5 and go.
All right. Here we are.
Yeah. Should we do it?
We should do it.
Let's go. Hey, you guys. Welcome back to That's So Fucked Up, a comedy podcast about cults, crimes, and other things that make you say, ugh, that's so fucked up. We are your hosts. I'm Ashley Love Richards.
And I'm Fallon Morey.
And look at this. I'm going to say what the topic is right now. What's the topic today, Fallon?
Today, we're talking about the first of that list. We're going to talk about a cult named the University of Cosmic Intelligence.
I haven't heard of this, other than when I wrote it on the production calendar, because you said you were covering it.
That's why I wanted to cover it, because this is tied to a current event that's happening right now. And it is a pretty new, within like only a year of establishment, cult. And it's crazy. It's crazy town. Play cult bingo. You won't regret it.
Okay, yes. I just went to TSFU, the podcast.com, and I clicked play with us, and then I hit bingo, and then I clicked cult bingo, and now there I am with bingo up, because I'm going to play.
Play with us, guys.
Forever and ever and ever.
Ew.
Yeah.
Funny, because you just talked about Stanley Kubrick and The Shining.
I know. Listen, I know, but it's like, fuck, I hate that it's a really good movie.
Sorry.
Why do you're just like, cool, you have nothing. Okay. Anyways.
Oh, I thought you paused talking because you heard something in my background, because one of my dogs like barked, and I thought you were like, pause, like, bitch, get your dogs under control.
Oh, no. I was just at the end of my sentence.
Oh, I didn't know that was your sentences don't usually end so short.
No, I just hate that it's like a really good movie. I don't feel good when I watch or listen to things produced unethically.
So I have mixed feelings about that movie.
Uh-huh.
I am a huge, huge Stephen King fan. And I find that movie does an incredible disservice to the amazing book that it came from.
Oh, well, Stephen King hates the movie. He's like, that's not how my fucking book is at all.
And in such, I don't love the movie, but I do love specific scenes from the movie, like the creepy twins and the door of blood, like when the blood comes gushing out of the elevator doors.
The door of blood. Love that. Yeah. If you guys are like, what the fuck are they talking about? In our last episode about
Dr. Phil.
Jesus fucking Christ.
I mean, it was a week ago or something.
Or 2 hours ago. Listen, that was a little behind the scenes magic for you guys. When we talked about Dr. Phil last week, wink, wink.
We were talking about him having Shelley Duvall on the show.
Right. And how he was horrible to her.
Because she had all this abuse from being on The Shining that left her with a ton of trauma and issues.
Yeah, Stanley Kubrick was horrible to her. So that's why I'm like, I hate that. I think it's a pretty good movie. But anyways, we are here to talk about the University of Cosmic Intelligence, a cult.
It is.
I'm going to take a stab that like maybe we have some like Heaven's Gates vibes, like maybe some some aliens or
tiny ones. It's actually a very interesting setup because it's sort of a cult for the modern day. We're going to talk about that later because a lot of it's digital because people are sort of joining it by being online versus like having to be recruited.
That's so dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oof.
And we're going to talk about that later because it's a very real warning we want everyone to hear about the things you read online and how easily it is to be fed messages that could bring you into a group like this without even knowing it.
Dude, that's why we talk so much about coercive groups and cults and stuff, because we emphasize most people that join these groups are highly fucking intelligent.
Yeah.
It's not about you join because you're stupid. You join because they're highly skilled at manipulating people, and they generally go at you at a time where you're feeling most vulnerable. So
yeah, for sure. And it's easy to find people online in these groups. So here's how it's kind of going to roll. I'm going to talk about how the group got on all of our radar, the leader, about the people in the cult, and then we're going to finish up talking about online cults in general. So news outlets around January of this year, 2024, started to carry a story about a group of people that had gone missing from St. Louis. The entire group had last been seen all together in the vicinity of a Quality Inn in St. Louis in August of 2023. The group consisted of 4 adults and 2 toddlers, 2 and 3-year-old. And the thing they had in common was they had all been a part or subscribed to the beliefs of something called the University of Cosmic Intelligence, which is led by a man named Rashad Jamal. His name is technically Rashad Jamal White, but he doesn't use the last part of his name.
that's not Nature Boy, is it?
No.
Okay.
And the thing that I think is really sad is when I'm trying to find articles about this, these 6 people are still missing. They're all younger Black Americans, 2 children, and nobody's reporting on it. Like, how the fuck do you not follow the story of 6 people missing? So spread the word.
What is it called? Like missing white girl syndrome or whatever?
Yes. The last article I can find on anybody is from like January or February of this year.
So they like reported right when it happened. They're like, hey, this happened. But then
oh, yeah. And nothing.
They were like, but no, we have other white people that are missing to talk about.
We'll talk about all their names and about the people a little later. But suffice to say, they were all part of this group. Rashad Jamal actually has vehemently denied that this has anything to do with him. And according to police, all of these members have apparently at different points in the last year made choices to cut themselves off from their family and friends, which is not uncommon when you're in a cult. And it also doesn't necessarily mean that you're making a sound decision.
No, I was going to say, like, I feel like manipulated into disconnecting from their families is a more accurate description.
Yeah. Since they've disappeared, they haven't used their credit cards or debit cards. They have money that's been sent to them by families sitting in like online banking, like Venmo or whatever, that has not been used. And the group happened to disappear just a few days before the trial of their leader happened.
That's very fishy that no money is being used.
Right. Cult experts have weighed in and said they might be in like super deep hiding and that at some point they have to kind of resurface because they're going to need resources or something has happened to them, which I hope that is not the case.
Yeah, because, people in cults are victims.
Yes.
The criminals, the perpetrators, the fucks are the leaders. So,
right.
Just to make that fucking clear.
Yeah. So let's talk about this fucking guy. Rashad Jamal was born in 1986 in Chicago. In some of his, I'm going to say rants because he does a lot of like going on Facebook and YouTube and ranting about things. He has stated that he grew up in an impoverished background where there was a lot of violence, nothing specific. He has actually tried his hand at being a rapper. He has some self-released music. I actually went on Spotify and listened to one of his songs.
Was it tight?
No. I mean, it had a good beat.
Wait, what's his name? Does he have like a special name?
No.
Or he just goes by Rashad?
Rashad Jamal.
Okay.
His newest album that I could find is called Only the Real Gone Relate. And it's a picture of him like staring out the window, suspiciously holding a gun.
Okay, I'm so irritated that I don't have Wannabe Rockstar on my bingo board. Because you guys, Wannabe Rockstar can count for anything.
And it's the one I can like never fill in. And I like try really hard to shoehorn him like, oh, he once was in a school play as a 5-year-old. He definitely wants to be a rock star.
No, I swear I read into it all the time. They're always like a failed entertainer of some sort. So they're like, I'll just start a cult instead.
Right. This album was released fairly recently. So it was like whether or not he had the cult. The songs on the album, I thought you'd find this interesting given one of your upcoming episodes, include Kundalini Energy, The Last Generation, Shadow Work, and The Jungle. There's many others.
Okay, you guys, Kundalini Yoga is totally a cult. So you guys, if you have joined the Patreon, just a little reminder, That's So Fucked Up Presents has gone 50% underground, meaning we will be releasing the first 2 episodes every month on the regular feed, and the second 2 episodes are only going to be on the Patreon, unless it's a singular story that takes up a whole month, like when Fallon and I are going to talk about the Donner Party extensively because it's a big story. Then I'm not going to like cock block you with a paywall and the whole season will go up on the feed. For the seasons that are just themed, that have singular episodes, if you guys loved Project Modern Day Night and Shen Yun, then you're going to love Mr. Money Mustache and Kundalini. Yeah, these are all cults. You guys are like, what the fuck are you talking about?
I can't wait to watch Mr. Money Mustache or listen to Mr. Money Mustache.
Oh, he's from my area. I almost like wonder, like, are we going to start, is beef going to come up? Because I feel like he probably has a Google alert. He seems like that kind of guy.
Maybe.
And I'm going to tag it, obviously, because that's part of SEO.
Yeah. So anyway, that's just one of the songs, including Kundalini Energy. And I listened to that song just to get an idea of like if it was a album with a message or if it was just, of course it was an album with a message. So
was the message join my cult?
No, but the message very much speaks to what his teachings are. So in the first 30 seconds, I heard, descended from Mayan ruins, waking. I'm not going to rap this, so it's going to sound incredibly boring.
Come on, Fallon.
Waking up to spit in the face of these racists who vaccinate us and acting like they're going to save us, eating rat meat for chicken,
Ew.
Politicians in bed with something, and Satan. So that's what I caught in just under a minute. So there's a lot going on, and it does kind of line up with what we're going to talk about as teachings.
So he's definitely anti-vax. That's very clear off the bat.
100%. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Which is actually really weird, you guys, because I'm obviously not going to go into it right now, but if you're interested, check out the alternative wellness to far right conspiracy pipeline. It's very, very interesting. These people who are, more into alternative medical practices and they have like, kind of distrust of Western medicine, which y'all, I do too. I'm like, we need to be like combining mind, body, and spirit here. So there's this really interesting thing where people who are generally like into crystals and fucking like free love or whatever are becoming like hardcore Trumpers. It's a very interesting phenomenon.
Well, we're going to kind of get there a little bit here.
Oh, okay.
This guy is a self-proclaimed, kind of like a prophet and sort of like a, sent here with a special purpose kind of guy. He signs all of the things he does. He goes by sort of his trade name is Divine Insight.
Cool, bro.
Yeah. He believes that he is semi-divine. He was sent here for a reason. He started a website that is subscription-based. It's still subscription-based, called the University of Cosmic Intelligence, that encourages his belief. I visited it. You can join for $33.67 a month or for $333 a year, which includes access not only to all of his wild content, but free merch from his merch store. Bonus.
Free merch? Shit.
Yeah, you get like a t-shirt.
If you sign up for a year?
Yeah.
You guys, I'll give you a t-shirt if you sign up for a fucking month at the $20 level. No, sorry, the $30. But hey.
like I said, he insists he does not run a cult, but a website and a YouTube platform. He's currently in prison, and we'll get into that, but he's been interviewed on the disappearances that have happened, and he basically shot it down saying, look, I'm just out here. I'm giving my opinion on things. He's quoted as saying, when a white person gives their opinion on history, nature, and the cosmos, they are called philosophers, doctors, and scientists. But when a Black person does it, such as myself, we are labeled conspiracy theorists and cult leaders.
No, bro. You're labeled that because you are.
And I know that there definitely is a lot of like racism inherent in this country.
Of course. But that's not what's happening here.
Yeah, when you hear his viewpoints, they're not like smart philosophy, they're off the wall. Following the like height of the BLM movement, like especially during COVID timeframe, he started to spread ideas on his social media platforms, and he was using it like a guise of anti-racism activism and spirituality kind of combined. Some of his core beliefs, the biggest one is all Black and Latino people are gods. He said explicitly in a video, I am a god and all of my people, the Black and Latino people, are gods, and we were made in the image of our creator. Therefore, I am an extension of her/them, and I am the creator and destroyer of my reality. So I take full responsibility for all events I have experienced through this lifetime. For this is what we call shadow work in the spiritual realm.
Hold on. He takes responsibility for all his shit or for everybody's stuff?
He says, for all events I have experienced through this lifetime.
So just him.
Yeah, just him. But he very plainly says, I am a god and we are gods. So following the real spread of the Black Lives Matter movement in the earlier days of COVID especially, he started to spread ideas through social media using a guise of, at first, completely anti-racism activism and kind of mixing in spirituality. So these are some of his core beliefs. First, his main message is all Black and Latino people are gods. This is the sort of demographic of the followers he tries to recruit. He said explicitly in a video, this is a quote, I am a god and all of my people, the Black and Latino people, are gods. And then later he says, we were made in the image of our creator. Therefore, I am an extension of them and am the creator and destroyer of my reality. He also believes he was sent on a divine mission to save all of Earth. And I think that, you know, his message is probably incredibly empowering for people that feel like they are being treated badly, that they're in a racist society. And so this is probably incredibly, in some of these messages, incredibly empowering for people to hear. But I feel like for him, it is a tool to try to get people on board to the rest of his crazy ideas that have nothing to do with race or...
It's very Jim Jones.
Yeah, definitely.
It's giving very Jim Jones energy and methods of recruiting.
The front page of his website says, Grand Rising Cosmic Family. This online university is geared toward enlightening and illuminating the minds of the carbonated beings, aka your so-called Black and Latino people of Earth, but it was originally known as Kai or Tiamat. I have to laugh because for like 2 straight years, every 3-4 days, I got a message from some random phone number that said Grand Rising.
What?
And I'm like, were they trying to recruit me? Because I don't want to rule the spiritual realm.
Fallon, who are you giving your shit out to?
Nobody. It's just sort of like the random number that texts my husband every couple months and says, do you want to be my sugar daddy? Like, and he's on a text with like 500 other random people.
You should look into that. That's sketchy on his part.
No, it's not. He's on there with 500 dudes.
Totally kidding. I'll get message. It's like, hey, Sharon, I haven't seen you at the gym in a long time. Because they expect me to like maybe be a horny dude that's like, what's up? This isn't Sharon, but I'll go to the gym with you. And it's a scam, you guys. Watch out.
So another belief he has is that polygamy is essential to the spiritual and family structure. I'm reading a lot of his direct quotes because that's where most of his material is. He doesn't have like well-established, you know, doctrine out there printed anywhere. So
does he have a Wikipedia?
I don't know.
Oh,
I didn't look for that. I used a bunch of other sources. To his followers, he says, as a Black or Latino woman, you are God. You were first. All life force comes from you. That also means you outnumber the man/gods 10 to 1. So this is why polygamy was practiced. You say you don't want to share, but your selfish ways must be disintegrated if we are to rise. So big believer in polygamy.
That's super Mormon to say that polygamy is going to help you with being less selfish. That's like exactly what they say to the women in Mormonism. Fundamentalist Mormonism, okay? It's like,
yeah.
Okay, but you know what? Listen, even in the regular Mormon church, they tell all the men, look, you can't have all the wives down here, but once you get to heaven, if you do all the shit, then you can like have fuck tons of wives up there. So, little rundown. Anyhow.
Well, that's exciting.
Mm-hmm.
So he thinks that crystals have healing power, which was why when you said earlier.
Crystals, anti-vax. Listen, actually, fucking so many of my friends love crystals. I love you guys. It's just, it can get hairy in the crystal community.
Now I'm thinking about a community full of people named Crystal, and it's all...
It's just wild.
Crystals have a healing power, and he sells them on his website. They're all on there today. You can go buy a crystal from him with spiritually associated numbers repeated in the price. E.g., the amounts are like $111.11 or $333.33.
Okay, why is his monthly membership then $33.67?
Probably some sort of magical number. I don't know.
Like, that's stupid. It should have been $33.33 if he's going for a whole magical number vibe.
Maybe. He advocates strongly against vaccinations.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, like we just talked about. And he has some wild belief about nature and natural phenomena. He has stated that birds are actually government surveillance drones.
Wait, like the joke movement, birds aren't real?
What?
This guy, like, as a joke, started a whole movement called Birds Aren't Real, where he, like, would go into talk shows and shit and very seriously talk about the fact that all birds were government drones and that birds didn't fucking exist. And people would be like, but you're joking, right? And he'd be like, no, but he was joking.
Okay, trigger warning coming up for animal cruelty. Fast forward about 30 seconds. This guy actually believes it. Apparently, in one of his videos, he has even gone as far as live animal desecration to prove that point.
No.
Ugh.
Fuck that.
He believes that Africa can be entered through the Grand Canyon.
What?
That's another one of his beliefs, which is just like literally takes out, I don't know, 8,000 miles of geography between those two.
That just sounds like he's like straight pulled that out of his ass. That's so random.
He said that the Mississippi River is actually the Nile River. I don't know how you just like announce it like that, but that's one of them.
So Pangea just got it wrong or something?
Or maybe it like goes underground and then pops back up in Egypt. I don't know. I don't follow his teaching. I'm not subscribing to get the full video.
Oh, come on. No, don't give this man your money, please. Anybody, you guys. We know enough.
He thinks that the government modifies the weather, of course. I'm not going to say he believes because I don't know if he actually believes. But what he has said is that the NBA players are robots. And it sort of plays into this old idea from ancient Rome where they would keep the masses sort of entertained and well fed to keep the status quo going. And he thinks that's what this is. Like NBA players are robots so that the government could keep us like well entertained and just do their evil, nefarious deeds to stop the oppressed masses from rising up. That's what he has said.
Okay, this is what I fucking hate. Is cult leaders and politicians will take some shit that like has some truth to it, but then they'll throw some just like absolute fucking insanity at it. So if you're a person with any reason, you're like, well, that's obviously all not true and totally crazy. Because I absolutely do think that the government like has certain, they have tactics to like fucking keep us distracted and looking over here while they're doing that over there. But like, they're not having like fucking humanoids play sports because people are good enough to do that. Like, that's fucking ridiculous. So it's like they twist a little bit of like something that's, very feasible or real, in my opinion.
Right.
And then like put it with crazy sauce, like the NBA players are all robots.
Also, there's an incredible amount of skill that goes into actions in a basketball game. I went to a Mexican restaurant a couple of months ago with my mom, and they had a robot waiter deliver the food to our table, and they couldn't even program it where it would stop in front of your table, and it was just driving in a straight line. So I find it hard to believe.
I don't like that.
It was the most random thing I've ever seen at a lunch, but I find it hard to believe that we somehow have very human looking robots.
No, this isn't Westworld, okay? Like,
No.
We're not there. Although I did see a robot the other day that could identify that in front of it was like a plate and an apple, and that the apple was the only edible thing in the room. And it was like,
whoa,
I didn't like it, Fallon. It was, it was like very, very smart. I was like, oh,
no.
Anyways, whatever. It's here, you guys. Prepare.
And the reason we're talking so much about his like social media and his online presence is this is how people are getting recruited to sort of his way of thinking and way of life. His social media accounts have gained over 170,000 followers. His Instagram is still active, and it states, I looked at it today, I hated every minute of all of this. Free your mind.
Free your mind, and the rest will follow.
It didn't sing to me, but yes, that's what it said. Free your mind, poet, messiah, revolutionary, luminous being.
Hold on. Is messiah like, does that mean you're Jesus?
I don't think it means you are Jesus, but that's what they call Jesus, the Messiah.
Okay. He's like a messiah. He's not the messiah. So are aliens involved in this at all?
No.
What the... Dude, you can't be talking about like cosmic intelligence and not involve aliens. That's crazy.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's like throw cosmic into anything, it makes it sound like much bigger of a deal than it is.
Yeah, I mean, because it's not the world. It's the fucking, it's everything.
Apparently somewhere he also offers one-on-one counseling.
Ooh.
So his following is not what we would think of as a traditional cult. There aren't a group of 3,000 people worshiping him in person at a compound somewhere. So it appears that...
Hold on. 3,000? That's a lot of people for one compound.
Well, I'm just saying, like, Jonestown had services where they were having 2,000 people there, and then they moved half of them to their giant compound. But my point is, he doesn't have a big in-person following.
Mm-hmm.
It is mainly an online following, but the people who are subscribing to his ideas are really following them, and they are grouping together in some cases into smaller, like, communal living situations.
Do they do yoga? Like, is that one of their things?
I don't think so.
Okay. This is a rough one for bingo.
I want to do another brief trigger warning for a description of some sexual assault, child sexual assault.
Okay, so fast forward 30 seconds, y'all.
Yeah, 30 seconds. And we're not going to go into detail, but he was convicted of sexual assault in 2023, and he had already been convicted of domestic abuse in 2018. He was given a prison sentence of 18 years with 22 years of parole following his time in prison. He was accused and convicted of molesting the young child of his ex-girlfriend. His ex-partner also alleges like numerous intimidation attempts against her during and after their relationship. He claims that he is a political prisoner that's living in deplorable conditions. He says, I have been in solitary confinement for 11 months for a crime I didn't commit. This is malicious prosecution. My arrest is politically motivated because I out the deep state to my people. They fear the truth in my message.
Oh my God. It's the wellness to alt-right QAnon shit pipeline.
He has also filed a motion for early release and has said the only law I've broken was speaking out against oppression. He says the only thing I'm guilty of is freeing the minds of my people and speaking out against the system, and I'll never back down from that. So for a guy who says he's not a cult leader and just talks about ideas, he's certainly claiming some followers. right?
Well, I mean, like, I don't have a bingo yet just because like things aren't lining up correctly, but I got squares for days, you know?
So that's sort of him and his teaching. So let's go back to our missing followers. The people who were part of this missing group of people are definitely his followers. Prior to them going missing, they were sharing and reposting many of his teachings via their various social media accounts. There have been police investigating their disappearance who have looked into all of this and talked to their families. All of the families have told similar stories that they started growing distant, they cut ties from their family altogether, and then they adopted new names and like left their homes and their jobs. He tries to actually spread the word through his like gospel or whatever that family is dangerous. I'm going to paraphrase this one. He says that family gives the illusion of flesh and can be used to hurt you. Divine love, not blood, is your true family. So like he is your true family, and seek them vehemently. So he's encouraging people to like separate from their family.
Would you say that like there's justification of anything that he deems necessary as the leader because he's all knowing and stuff?
Yes, probably.
Okay, just wondering, you know.
Now we're talking specifically about this group of people that went missing. At some point, it was known that many of them moved into the home of one of the people that are missing named Michaela Wickerson. They moved in there sometime in 2022, and in early 2023, they were all kicked out. After their disappearance, which was around August, the police found the following left in the home, like food in the microwave, the laundry was still in the washing machine, there were valuables left behind, and they also found some like religious looking items, so an altar, items wrapped in copper, and other odd memorabilia. Major Steve, I don't know if it's Runge or Runge, I don't know how to pronounce his name, but he's the person that's been investigating them. And he said that he believed based on this that the adults were fully living in this cult. But it looks like they like picked up to go to the store one day and just like never came back.
We recently talked about how creepy it is when they do that in places. Just fucking peace out and leave everything. It makes you think that they just immediately were like, fuck, we're in danger and have to run right now. That's what it seems like when people just leave things like that.
Right. Now, this investigator said that he had talked to several members of the cult before their disappearance, and they told him, this is what makes me nervous, they told him that they were preparing for the rapture and their eventual ascension. Yeah. Never a good sign when people are going to ascend.
Dude.
He tried to press at the time for more information, but they refused to give more than that. Like, he was like, when does that happen?
Isn't the rapture the world ending?
Well, it's part of the world ending. The rapture is in the Bible is technically all of the people that are good Christians, right? That deserve to go to heaven will just spontaneously be taken to heaven. That's the rapture.
Oh, shit. I'm fucked.
Yes.
I'm not getting that. I'm left in the dust.
Yeah. That's another one of those awesome tools that like churches like to hold over people. Like, you're not going to be taken up during the rapture.
No, that's not scary. You're just going to get left on hell earth. So, you know, I'm giving myself death on bingo because
it's highly possible.
It's highly possible with that info.
The investigator also stated that there's a picture out there that most people have seen, and it's a bunch of people like sitting in what looks like an overgrown yard of a house, and they're like staring up the sun. That's a picture of some of these members that went missing. The individuals in the cult group would often go outside daily and meditate, sometimes in the nude. I think that's why he like went out and checked on them, because they were like out there naked in their backyard, and people were like, yo, there's naked people over there like meditating.
Which, I mean, meditating in the nude in the fucking sunshine shouldn't be a crime, but they were doing bad stuff as well. That's not the problem.
Yeah, and they don't know if there was anything going on that was worse. Right. I do want to talk about a couple of the people, and they are victims, so we're going to call them the victims specifically.
By the way, just to be pretentious, meditation is a yoga practice.
Okay.
I asked you earlier if they did yoga, and you said no.
Oh, I don't think meditation is only yoga specific. I think you can meditate anywhere.
But meditation is a part of yoga.
Oh, okay. I don't think of it as a part of yoga. I've never been to a yoga class where they've been like, everyone just sit still and think about things. Like they're always making you move. I don't know. I don't like meditating, so I don't really think about it very much. But you can mark off yoga on your sheet.
Listen, yoga is meditation in movement. So yeah, you guys, if you have yoga on your bingo card, go ahead and give it a little tap. I give you permission.
Nobody's checking. Like you could click on all of them and say whatever you want to say.
No, you can't. Listen, somebody's watching and
Divine insight. Michaela Wickerson and her daughter Malaya were last seen at her home in August. She's the one who owned the home that everyone moved into. She was 25 and her daughter was 3. Her family said that before this, it would not have been like her to just go missing. Her cousin said that she and Michaela were more like sisters than cousins, and she had noticed her hanging out with people she wasn't familiar with. And her mom said she had cut off all communication. She quit her job, and she started insisting that her daughter was actually her mother. I don't know what that means.
dude, no, that's like some weird reincarnation. Like, no, I mean,
Yeah.
look, I prefer not to believe in reincarnation because that sounds exhausting, y'all. Doing like a bunch of lives, Jesus. But no disrespect to anybody who believes in that. I just think that definitely he could manipulate her into thinking that,
Of course.
because he would just say, that's your mother reincarnated. And that's how Scientology abuses children, because they say that like children aren't real. They're just like older souls in tiny bodies.
Right.
Yeah.
She also deleted all her social media accounts and opened a new one with her newly adopted name, Ntuama Aquaman on Teal. Yes. Michaela Thompson was another one of the women who went missing. She changed her phone number and then withheld it from all her relatives before she disappeared. Her mother said that she had taken an interest in tarot cards during COVID, and she actually got pretty good at it. So she started charging money to do readings for people. And at some point, this is how she met Michaela, who we just talked about. And shortly after she met Michaela, she started cutting ties from her family. Her new name was also Antu Anum Amat. And then, I don't want to say this wrong, I think it's Naaman, Naaman, or Naaman Williams. He was 30 years old and he moved from DC to St. Louis in 2022. He and Michaela Thompson started doing Facebook Lives together, calling them the Cosmic War Room, in December of 2022, and made 20 videos where they talked about topics like Black people are gods and goddesses, similar to Rashad Jamal.
Wait, we're talking about somebody different than Rashad now?
Yes, this man is named Naaman Williams. He's another one of the people that went missing.
Okay.
So he met Michaela Thompson online when he started his spiritual journey. She went and picked him up in DC and drove him down to St. Louis, where they both lived in the house with the other woman. They started doing videos in December of 22 called the Cosmic War Room. They made videos about how the FDA tampers with all food to harm people, how there are 6 suns orbiting the Earth, and the moon and time are not real.
This is also giving like very love has won type energy.
Yes, very much so.
Because they started doing the live fucking shows where they were like, conspiracy, boop-a-dap-a-doo. And they also talked about ascending a lot. As Amy Carlson was actually dying in front of everyone, they were like, they knew that, but I do believe that they were fucking very mind controlled. But they're like, she's just ascending. Like, this is what's meant to happen. She's meant to ascend.
Yeah.
And then she died in front of everybody. So it's pretty wacky stuff.
So kind of similar with no confirmed deaths, but the last victim I could find details of was Jeriel German. She had been married only a few months when her husband actually started to follow some of Jamal's videos online. He was like, oh, I thought it would just be a phase, and I stopped watching them, but she started to watch them religiously. And according to her mom, she started to talk to a man on the phone for hours every day. This man turned out to be the the one I just talked about, Naaman Williams. After this, she made the decision to leave her husband. She told him, I'm going to St. Louis. I'm going to take care of my mom and grandmother. She took her 2 kids. And when she got to her mom's house, she was like, I'm leaving my husband because he never does anything. And then a few days later, she asked her brother and sister-in-law for her ride to the house where everyone else lived, saying that she was being told by her ancestors she was supposed to go there. She took her 2-year-old son with her, and she left her 4-year-old child behind, which was really sad. Even though the news outlets only started really reporting on this, I think in like January for some reason, there really hasn't been a lot of news reporting, but nobody has seen them. Nobody knows what happened to them. There is no closure. They are still missing.
And the investigation is what, just open, but they're not probably doing jack shit?
There's no more details. We don't know if like any of these people has ever spoken directly to Jamal. So that wasn't clear from any of the news reports. It was clear that they followed his teachings online, but nobody knows if he has like had direct personal influence on anyone. There are a lot of weird criminal incidents associated with group members. There have been 8 different charges against members so far. And while none of the videos advocate for violence, there is a question of how all these like seemingly normal people turn violent. In one case in late 2022, a couple on a road trip was flagged down by a female follower claiming to need roadside assistance. She then pulled her gun and tried to lead the couple into the woods to rob them, along with an accomplice that was with her.
Dude, that is like my worst fear, because like I feel like I would probably stop for a woman, but then stories like this make me feel like, well, you probably shouldn't. But then it's like, but what if they really are in need? Ugh.
Oh, it gets worse. The victim's name, who was Adam Simji, he had a gun on him. So he pulled it out and shot Hyder, who was the one that had flagged him down. And she turned around and shot him, and he died at the scene after he was unsuccessfully attempted to be revived by his girlfriend. The other member that was with her, named Crystal Pinkins, she was hiding in the nearby woods, and she fled when she was called by her friend. However, she was tracked by law enforcement, and they found her in what appeared to be like an off-the-grid base camp that they were living in. They tried to detain Pinkins, and her 5-year-old child emerged from the woods with a shotgun, initially refusing to put it down. Somehow, through I can only imagine the means they used, they had basically indoctrinated this 5-year-old to point a gun at police if they were ever confronted.
Okay. Well, that's wild.
They eventually were able to detain both women. Hyder, who was the one that actually shot the motorist that she stopped, she has since been sentenced to 35 years in prison, and Pinkins was sentenced to life in prison. Both of them, though, appeared to have lived totally normal lives before becoming involved with the University of Cosmic Intelligence. Like, no issues, no major events, and then they hijacked somebody for apparently no reason.
And murdered them.
Which is just...
That's intense.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I'm assuming that's under the direction of...
It's either under the direction or they somehow, became paranoid because of all this stuff they're hearing about, like, how much the government is fucking with everybody and trying to poison them, There was one more case where a boy named Damian Washam, he had always been described as essentially a really normal kid by his father before he got involved with the University of Cosmic Intelligence. According to his dad, he spent a few $1,000s in the online shop, and he consumed a ton of Jamal's content after finding out about Jamal through a chat with somebody else. He, in January of 2023, attacked several members of his family with a katana.
Whoa.
Yeah, he ultimately killed his mother.
What?
Yeah.
Fuck, how old was he? Because you said like a kid.
Sorry, he was 25.
And he fucking murdered his mom with a sword?
Yeah, and he attacked several other family members, including his brother, who was autistic, and his uncle, who had cerebral palsy. He just attacked his whole family.
Do they have any reasoning as to why?
He was found not guilty by reasons of insanity, and he fled the scene afterward with the alleged murder weapon in the car. And there's not a whole lot about him, presumably due to the verdict.
Dude, that's wild.
Yeah, I don't want to read the gory details, but his mom had 19 lacerations to her head. So he like really attacked her.
So he just like fucking snapped after finding these, quote, teachings.
Yeah, according to one article, his dad said that he got obsessed with this conspiracy theory group through TikTok, which turned out to be these teachings. He also says the other thing that he believed from these teachings were during COVID-19 pandemic, all babies born were ancient souls. He had sent links to his family talking about the teachings he was following. Even after reading all that, he doesn't see anything that directly would have caused him to like snap and kill his mom, but he was like a normal guy before this. So,
It's very interesting that multiple people became violent
murderers. So what's really interesting about this case, to sort of like finish up, is discussing sort of what we started talking about, is the way that cults can now really heavily recruit people online via different methods. So the case kind of questions what's the dividing line between influencer and cult leader, right? Like, when do you cross that line?
Right.
I found an article that quotes a lot of renowned cult experts, and it said in the past, high control groups and cults had to rely on in-person methods, like, you know, like alternative book and music stores, meeting people that are sort of like kind of off the beaten path a little and might go for your ideas. But now people can reach out to many more people from home with just, you know, the touch of a button, so to speak. Also, the way that platforms optimize for viewership, algorithms can help. And this was an article in USA Today that pointed out that algorithms work to figure out what to serve you, what kind of content to put in your feeds. Sometimes this is based on other websites you visited or your email address or
the robots listening to you all the time.
Yeah. Basically, there's little things on web pages that sort of like attach themselves to you and then let people target you with things.
Aren't those called cookies?
Yeah, cookies, pixels.
I didn't know what cookies were for the longest fucking times. It's like, allow cookies? I'm like, yeah, I guess.
Yeah. The goal of these is to introduce people to stuff, but it's also to pull people in to try to get them to get customers to make purchases of things, because that's how these sites get money. But as someone's algorithm gets more and more tailored, it can introduce them to more and more specific groups, and maybe even those with really extreme beliefs. So as your algorithm gets like more and more specialized, you start seeing like a smaller and smaller variety of content, which ultimately might lead you down kind of a scary path.
Y'all, be so careful on TikTok and Facebook, honestly. Like, it gets wild.
Yeah. Stephen Hassan, who is a very renowned cult expert, said if you look at Jamal's YouTube, how did he get so many followers? Was it really organic, or were there bad actors amplifying it? Or was it just algorithms of YouTube trying to make money? He also pointed out that there are many groups and some bad actors out there, for example, Russia, or even less insidious seeming groups, for example, Christian nationalists, that might have a variety of agendas that can benefit from introducing chaos and anti-government views into people's feeds. Hassan noted that maybe one of these could have helped to boost this presence, because this is definitely like a very chaotic viewpoint.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, Yanya Lalick, one of our podcast favorites.
Yanya! We love Yanya.
Yeah. She said in a video interview about this cult that those involved who are still missing may need a safe haven at some point to escape or get away. So if you are approached by someone, try to be a source of support for these people. And as like you and I have talked about, people in cults are victims. And Yanya says one of the hardest things someone will ever have to do in their life is get out of a cult. So people need support, not to be like vilified for it.
Yeah, and Yanya, also world-renowned cult expert, does such amazing work. If you guys have had experience in a cult or in a relationship with a narcissist, I highly, highly recommend her book, Take Back Your Life, which you can get on Amazon and on her website. If you just Google Yanya Lalick, she'll pop up.
I have not gotten to meet her in person, but I want to someday. That's like my goal.
Dude, I haven't either. And I went to the state that she lives in, and she was out of town like the one day that I was going near where she was. And it's a bummer, but next time.
Obviously, a ton of mystery still surrounds this. I really want to hope that those people are found alive and that they can get the help they need. I do want to end with a quote from Cartisha Morgan. She's Michaela Wickerson's mother, one of the missing women. And I think this is just such a perfect way to sum up. She said, "Mental illness is real. Manipulation is real. There are a lot of things going on out here, and we just need to be aware of it. If you see something that's off, please take measures to get them help as quickly as possible. I would have never imagined that I'd never have known where my daughter and granddaughter are right now."
And then it's not only your fucking kid, but also your grandkid.
And we keep seeing from victims and survivors of cults, like when we talked about when we did the new F word and we heard the words from the people who had been in the IBLP, you keep hearing this statement like, if you see something wrong, don't wait. If it's wrong and you feel it's wrong, help. Get measures, intervene, do what you can.
If you see something, say something.
Yes.
And if you guys are like, what are all those acronyms? The new F word was fundamentalism. And the season was based around the docuseries on Amazon, Shiny Happy People, that was all about Christian fundamentalism. And the IBLP, the Institute for Basic Life Principles, a fucking like hardcore Christian cult. 8 million kids and counting. It's all fucked.
But one of the survivors says that like the voice inside you that says like that's wrong, that's the one to listen to because it's correct most of the time.
Is it Lindsay that says that?
No, it's Chad that says that.
Chad.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's the guy with the goatee, right?
Yeah.
He's great. They're both great.
I ended with that because this was online and it wasn't like 30 years ago. It was a year ago, guys. So be careful online. Be careful out there.
Guard your heart, y'all. Oh my God. Be so careful online. Fuck.
Yeah.
It is sketchy territory.
So that's what I got for you today.
Wow. Well, I'm really glad that we talked about that, especially since apparently it's not being talked about.
The media isn't.
What? So like YouTubers or podcasters and stuff aren't covering it either?
I think there are more content creators and like podcasters talking about it. Because when I tried to look up, his music on Spotify, there was more podcasts about it than I found recent articles about it. So at least content creators are talking about it because somebody should be.
And you guys, that's why it's like really important to support small independent content creators because like we're not professional journalists. We get paid through ad revenue and from our amazing patrons who donate to our cause here. I often find that it is independent creators who are making the content that like fucking needs to be covered. So, anytime you like somebody's shit, like and subscribe, leave a comment, leave a nice review. You can do that for us as well. But that's like one of the best ways to support independent creators who are not like professionally trained journalists, but who are out there fucking like doing some journalism. Research is being done as thoroughly as possible.
We're doing our best with the tools we have, and we care about, at least here, we really care about the people involved, and I want to see these 6 people found, like maybe shaken up but safe, right? I want to see them talked about. So that's my hope.
I think just seeing them found anyway at this point, like after so long for their family not having closure or just like finding anything out.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully they're alive and okay. That would be amazing. But I mean, just any kind of more information would be great. Well, that was real as fuck, Fallon.
And real fucked up.
Ugh, yikes.
Yeah. So that being said, I'm going to have to go emotionally eat a little bit.
Oh.
Emotionally overeat.
Do you have yummy stuff? I don't have any.
Pizza night.
Oh, bitch.
And I'm going to go hug my little ones.
I'm jelly. All right. Well, you guys, thanks for listening. all this stuff, go to our website, tsfuthepodcast.com. You can find all of our social media, our Patreon, all the places you can listen to us. You can check out our merch, all kinds of good stuff. And we will catch you on the flippity flop. And remember, if you're like, hey, where's the rest of That's So Fucked Up Presents Sinister Sex? Well, you guys, Mr. Money Mustache and Kundalini Yoga are both now on the Patreon at patreon.com/TSFU. Okay, bye.
Bye.
Bum 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 bum. That's fucked up. So fucked up. Can't you see? It's just really fucked. That's fucked up.